Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel and I hope you guys are doing great. In my today's video, I'm going to discuss about the recent Q1 FY27 result of IZMO Limited. So if you have been following my channel and watching my videos regularly, so this company I started monitoring or analyzing from Q4 of FY26 when there was a sudden spurt of growth to understand what was the reason and what is happening at the back of it, right? So what I understood, right, that they are getting into the semiconductor division, which is changing the overall trajectory of the business. So I'm going to in this video I'm going to discuss with you about the company's business, what they used to actually do, what they are entering into it, how does the recent result look, is it good, and whatever they are trying to do it in the semiconductor business, is it working or not, and is it contributing to the revenue, and what is my overall feedback with. So let's get into it, right? So if you look at my screen over here, right? So they have two businesses. One is digital and the second one is a semiconductor business. So in the digital business, right? So they provide this software solutions to auto dealers. So that's the reason why, if you can see over here, it's written software as a service cash flow engine. So here they have three main division. One is IZMO Cars, IZMO Stock, and IZMO Imperio. I'll talk about this further. Then they have something called as Frog Data, where they take the data and do this, use AI and do analysis and provide the information to the dealership. So that is their how to say, their main business, their legacy business, and make their bread and butter. And the second part, which is a semiconductor, right, is their, which they call it izmoMicro, is their growth engine. That's where the growth is actually coming from, and that's why the company was so bullish. And they said that after the investment that we're going to do in this company in the current year, that the revenue potential from this uh, segment alone is close to around 200, 1200 crores. So if you look at the revenue of the company for at the end of FY 26, it was around 295 crores. So automatically this, I mean, if what the management is saying, the investment that they're going to do, and the revenue potential that it has, this segment can alone, increase their revenue by four times. So if you go further, right, and if you look at in their legacy business, what do they actually do? As I told about, right, they provide software as a solution to auto dealers. So let's look at over here, and I'll just spend a few seconds over here. So first is their IZMO Auto, which is the digital platform suite. So over here, for the auto dealers, they provide digital web marketing platforms for original equipment manufacturers and dealers. And at the same time, they give them this CRM softwares also, where they can manage their whole inventory and all this stuff. And if you look at their second part, which is IZMO Stock, over here they do this vehicle imaging. And if you look at the what the information that they've given, right, so they are the world's largest automotive image library with 2 million plus images. And if we look at over here, 70% of global rented listing, right, it is done by them. And over here, the good thing, with the if you see at the customer retention, right, that the number of customers which change or get out of the business is less than 3%. And the third one is the IZMO Imperio, which is 3D virtual showroom. So if you would have gone to any company's car company's website, now we see that, in like in a 3D showroom, you can see the car details, what is the interior, what is the exterior. So that's what they provide to these auto dealers outside India, mostly in US and Europe. So this was the main business. So we can clearly see, right? So they have two part of the business. One is the auto dealership, where they provide the software as a services, which has multiple division, and then they have this semiconductor division, which they call it izmoMicro. So if you look at their recent result and the revenue, right? So let's just get into it. So if we look, their Q1 FY27 revenue was around 65.38 crores, which was around 15.7%. If you look at their operating EBITDA, it grew by almost 69. It improved by almost 69.6%. EBITDA margin improved by almost close to 8% to 25.1%, and their profit after tax almost double, and their PAT margin also increased from 10% to um, 10% to 18%. So over here, if I give you my honest opinion, when I look at just the the sales growth number, I was not that happy. I was like, okay, it's only 15.7%. But when I had analyzed this company, I knew that they had clearly told that their growth is going to come from the this micro semiconductor division, where their revenues are going to increase and the margins are going to improve. So if I look at these numbers alone, one thing I can definitely say is that from the micro, the semiconductor division, the margins have definitely helped, because we can clearly see that the operating EBITDA improving, operating EBITDA margin is improving, the PAT margin almost doubled. So now when we go further, we'll look whether in terms of revenue, what was the growth of the revenue from the semiconductor division. So let's go further. So if you look at their revenue breakdown, right? So as I told you, majority of these clients whom they work with, right, are in US and Europe. So export contributed to around 93% of the revenue in FY26. But if you look at the Q1 of FY27, it has come down to 85.8%, which is around 56.1 crore. And the domestic revenue contribution is increased from 6.8% to almost 14.2%. And this is mainly at the back of the semiconductor division, where majority of their contracts that they have is with the Indian in the domestic space. So we can clearly see that the semiconductor division is definitely growing over here. And if we go further, right, so we have this revenue breakup among the semiconductor as well as their, the is auto dealers business software platform that they provide, right? And if we look over here, right, we can see the breakup over here. Be very honest with you, I don't know who made this PPT, because they never realized that some things cannot be read at all with the font that and the color that they have used. So I have highlighted it. So if you actually see, we can see at the bottom on over here, over on the IZMO cards contributed to around close to the similar amount of revenue which it contributed to last year. Same for IZMO stock and for stock data. But if you look at what I've highlighted over here with the red marker, that is the microsystem. So whatever the revenue contribution they had was around 3 crores of last year in Q1 of FY27. In this quarter, it has increased to almost 9.23 crores. So this clearly shows that the growth engine where they are betting on, right, that is doing well, because the revenue is almost close to tripled. So that's what I was looking for, and I was actually quite happy when I saw that. And if you looked at those numbers in details, right? So I've taken these details, so you can look at the screen over here, right? So Q1 FY27 revenue from out of the overall revenue is close to around 9.24 crores, and in compared to Q1 of FY27. And if we compare this with the levels of Q2 and Q3 FY26, the revenue has grown almost by 2.5%. So what is making these changes, right? So first, they are expanding their capabilities by building more stuff like system in package, microwave packaging, power modules, silicon photonics, space electronics. Um, their the number of customers are increasing in various spaces from defense, telecom, automotive space, and advanced computing. So in short, if we see, right, the growth engine where the management has promised that the growth is going to come for is actually working, and the revenues have almost close to tripled. The margins have also expanded, which is quite a good sign. So overall, if you ask me personally, right, I am. Look, how would I say? I have a mixed review of the results. So I'll tell you what I'm happy about and what I'm disappointed about this results. Right. So first of all, I'm happy that the IZMO Micro, which is a semiconductor division, that is definitely growing. We can clearly see that the revenues have been growing, and they had clearly mentioned in the last one call that it's a high margin product. So the margins have also improved. The PAT has, the PAT margins has improved from 10 to almost 18%. So that is all the good sign. What I was disappointed, right? So there was no growth in the legacy business. So the legacy numbers were almost like similar. There was literally very little growth over there. Second thing, I was disappointed. Last in Q4, they had a con call, so you could ask questions and you had more details on it. As of now, there has been no con call details, so obviously no questions can be asked. And the other thing which they said in the Q4 FY26 con call is, right. So as I told you about it, right, they said that for this new semiconductor division, right, with the new investments, if they do, the revenue capabilities around close to around 1,200 crores overall. They had said that they're going to do a fundraise of around close to 100 to 200 crores to fund this capacity. As of now, I haven't seen any update on that, how they're raising the fund or what are they doing. And obviously, they did not had the con call, so couldn't ask the question. At the same time, there was no mention in the PPT also. So that is one thing which is holding me. So just a disclosure, personally, I'm invested in this, and I have decided as of now to hold, not to add anything to this position or not to trim anything to the position, but just to wait and see how things are progressing. As I told you, I'm happy with how the semiconductor division is growing, but that current investment which they have done, the revenue capability of this semiconductor division is maximum 100 crores, not more than that. The new investments which they're going to do, that is going to increase the capability to 1,200 crores. So that is, there is still no clarity on it. So I will wait and see, and obviously wait and see whether the legacy business at least there has some growth or not. So that's my overall point. So in short, the results, I mean, the sales numbers, growth number overall might not look that great, but what is the great sign is, right, the semiconductor division, which the management promised, is growing. Now we have to see when the investments are going to happen and how it is going to increase your overall capacity. And if you guys like this video and analysis, please do hit like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you and God bless you.